5 horrors experienced at the family gathering by Krishna's mercy. Quote, the learned brahmana Sudama passed that night at the house of Lord Krishna, and while he was there, he felt as if he were living in a Vaikuntha planet. Actually, he was living in Vaikuntha because wherever Lord Krishna, the original Narayana, and Rukminidevi, the goddess of fortune, live is not different from the spiritual planet, Vaikunthaloka. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vol 2, Kate 26. 1. Malnourished children.
Every single time I come here, it is just amazing, watching the same plot play out. Everyone is shocked that this specific child eats so much at the dinner table. Before anyone blinks, the child is finished. Their plate is clean. They are ready for more. I, for one, am not amazed. I am rather appalled. This is because these poor children are not properly fed at home. Just what are the parents doing? This is their responsibility, and in meeting that responsibility, they are woefully deficient. They get a failing grade, if you ask me. There is nothing I can do about it either. These are not my kids.
2. Ethnic stereotyping.
Here we go. I can tell what is coming next. Some news on the television describing political chaos in that part of the world. She watched it and is about to ask a question. I live here, lady, in the same country as you. Just because I look similar to those people in that faraway region doesn't mean that I have any relation to them. I will smile politely when you ask me about it. I am not going to be rude, but this is getting ridiculous now. I would rather not come here and put up with this nonsense every time.
3. Ill treatment of guests.
Did you not invite us? How the hell was I supposed to know that we should not sit on this particular sofa? You are the one who brought me the beverage from the kitchen. If I needed to use a coaster, that is on you. I did not realize there were so many rules to this place. I really wish I declined the invitation.
4. Yelling and screaming.
We are stuck here. I get that. I am willing to make the sacrifice. Can we at least sit in peace? We have the game on the television. Even that was difficult. I had to figure out how to change the input. These people didn't even know they were getting channels for free. They kept telling me I was crazy. But now we have the constant interruptions. Does no one know how to pass the day without making a scene? This is ridiculous.
5. Prioritizing animals and...
Of course, certain areas of the living room are off limits. We are not supposed to sit on this chair or that. Heaven forbid we move something out of convenience. It is like different strikes against us, to be submitted in a formal report to the higher authorities. I can tell they are still upset about that coaster thing. But to complete the picture of this farce called a family gathering, we have the household animals roaming about. They can pretty much do whatever they want. The door downstairs has to remain open, even with the cold air flowing inside. This is to allow the animal unobstructed access. The guests are suffering badly from the allergies, from the foul odors. But then again, who really cares about humans? These pets are everything to the people of this house. When will this nightmare end?
The Sankirtana movement, made prominent by Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is often described as a branch of Hinduism. The visuals stand in stark contrast to the study of esoteric principles within the Vedanta culture. Chanting and dancing, vocalizing devotion to the Supreme Lord, is also different from the serious and somber mood of formal worship within the temple, where patrons direct their prayers towards a statue or painting known as the deity, which is the Archvigraha in the full understanding. People may take issue with the entire premise of Sankirtana, that salvation can be achieved simply through repeating the holy name of the Supreme Lord, though this very truth has been stated both directly and indirectly in scriptural texts that date back thousands of years. It appears that the formula is too simple to have any lasting value. It must be a gimmick or a trick to catch the attention of people. Like a song to bring home the souls who have lost their way. Once they are back in school, so to speak, they can better focus on the task at hand of finally stopping the cycle of birth and death. Ram Nam Nar Kesari Kanak Kasipu Kalikal Japak Jan Prahlad Jimmy Pali Hidali Sursal. Quote, Sri Rama's holy name is like nursing Dev to the Hiranyakashipu, like Kali Yuga. For those who chant the holy name, the Lord offers them all protections and crushes their tormentors, just as he did for Prahlad Maharaj. Dohavli 26. There is a specific mantra commonly associated with the Sankirtana movement. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. By chanting this mantra, we begin our journey back home, back to Godhead. The holy name is not different from the person being addressed. This can only be true with God. He is absolute in nature. Thinking about him is just as good as being with him. Calling his name is like bringing him into the room. This property extends to his land, making places like Vrindavan and Mathura sacred. It also extends to food offered to him, which is why we honor prasadam. The property further extends to the individual dedicated to serving him, turning people from all different backgrounds into saints who are like traveling sacred places, tirthas. The above-reviewed situation of an experience at a family gathering in the modern day shows why the Sankirtana movement is so desperately needed. It is indeed like hitting a pause button to put a brief halt to the madness, to ask people to stop for a second and think, reassess the situation in life, put priorities back into their proper order, cast aside what is least important and place emphasis on matters of utmost urgency. Otherwise, it is like we are living in the worst times. It appears that there is no hope for humanity. We think back to Sudama Vipra visiting Dwarka. He went to see the king, who happened to also be his old friend. There was no expectation going in. Yet Sudama felt as if he were the king. The treatment was so amazing that it is almost impossible to believe. Not only was Krishna extremely kind and generous, but his queen, Rukminidevi, further blessed that poor brahmana, the unexpected guest in their home, such that his poverty-stricken condition soon became a thing of the past. It does appear as though we are jumping from one crazy place to another, with the only difference seen in the actual degree of the madness, but there is still hope. We can follow the recommendation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chanting the glories of the Supreme Lord indeed aligns with Dharma. It is a specific kind of implementation which has wonderful effectiveness in this present age of quarrel and hypocrisy. Through that chanting, we can also remember the stark contrast in treatment offered in the Vaikuntha-like places, where the hosts, like Krishna and Rukmini, are kind and affection towards their guests in a way warranting eternal appreciation. In closing, with these visits finally done, where peace and sanity none, one horror after another, Kali's appearance like no other, instead steady in holy names to call, and visit of Sudama to recall, when to Dwarka palace went, and blissfully the night spent.